Hey everyone, Matt at Savant here. Excited to show you how we do advanced file stitching in just a few clicks in Savant today. So let's jump in and get started. So first thing, let's say I've created a new analysis and I want to pull multiple files together to stitch them, stitch them together to do my maybe data reconciliation, compare files, any sort of the great data blending, data prep analysis work people do every day in spreadsheets and other platforms. Savant makes that work much simpler than it's been in the past. So let's look at some example data to show you how. So I'm going to start by just opening, this is just, sample data, it's finance, general ledger data. And in this example, I have two tabs within my workbook. I have a tab for January, I have a tab for Canada. My data has headers on it that I don't need. And then maybe I have other workbooks as well I want to stitch together. So that's January data. Maybe I also want to stitch together data from February for US and Canada as well. This would be a lot of manual work to stitch these files together. If this data is really big, it may not even all fit in one workbook traditionally. So if you do this in Excel, it's a lot of manual cumbersome work. It's a lot of import and sort of spaghetti SQL to line everything up, get the data types working, etc. in a database. Or if you're using any sort of other workflow platform that usually creates this kind of spaghetti mess on your canvas to do all that sort of metadata pre-processing. So let's see how simple it is in Savant to do this kind of work. So hopping back into Savant, let's go ahead and connect to this data. So I can upload the data, or we're a cloud platform with connectors to hundreds of file systems, databases, cloud apps, etc. So in this case, I'm actually just going to connect to my OneDrive so that this automation I set up for file stitching can be used over and over again as I get new files coming in. I'm just going to connect to my finance OneDrive right here. And now I'm in my sandbox to do my data stitching. So it's really simple. I know these files are Excel files, so I'm going to put my file type here as Excel. Then the next thing I want to do is I'm going to read multiple files in from a folder. So I'm going to select the folder option, and then all I need to do is go to my OneDrive and get the OneDrive link for this file. So I'm going to hit copy link for this folder rather. I've got the link copied now. I put the link in, and then I just need to tell it about the files I want. This is where you're going to see the true magic of Savant come into play. Maybe I only want to use the most recent file, for example. I have a most recent option here. So I could say most recent, I turn that option on. And then I want to grab not some of these other files perhaps, but maybe I just want to grab my most recent general ledger file. So here I'm going to come here, I'm going to say my file name pattern starts with general ledger. I know I have multiple tabs that I want to stitch together, so I could use this to select an individual tab, but instead what I want to do is select a multiple tab. So I'm going to hit multi-tab option. If I don't want to select all the tabs, I want to select a few. I could do a tab pattern here, but I want to select all of them, so I'm just going to hit all. If you have certain headers, you have messy data, maybe they don't all share the same headers, you can specify what are the common headers you really care about across files when file stitching. I don't have any of that today, but I do want to skip rows. So first thing I notice here is that I have 4 rows to skip. So I just come into Savant, I hit skip 4 rows, and then I hit apply. And just like that, I've now stitched 2 tabs together in my most recent general ledger file. But maybe I don't want to use most recent, so I can turn this off. I'm going to put general ledger back in as the file I care about. And still do multiple tabs. Hit apply. And now it's going to stitch together every file in my folder that is general ledger, and it's going to stitch together every tab in there as well. So it's done a ton of data stitching for me automatically. I don't have to do anything, it's all combined. I can also do advanced cool things like, if I have headerless data, that's not a problem, I turn this on. But in this case, maybe I want to know the file that each one of these data records came from, since I'm stitching multiple files together. That's not a problem. I just turn on metadata. And now I have this metadata field that tells me information about the file it came from. It told me when the file was created, when it was updated, what the location of the file is, and what the file name is. So now for every row, I know the provenance of that row I'm stitching together. So tons of things you can do here in Savant. Again, a lot of work usually to do this in traditional tools. Here, with just 2 clicks for all these features, I can stitch multiple files together. I can include multiple tabs within my spreadsheets if I want to. I can filter which files I want to using file name patterns. I can filter which tabs I want to stitch together using tab name patterns. I can do just the most recent file, and it's always just looking for the most recent file in my folder if I want to do that. If I have messy files with different header schemas and I want to map them up, I can use the common header feature for that. If I have data where it doesn't start immediately in the file, I need to skip rows to get to my true header start, I can do skip rows. If I have headerless data that's missing headers completely, I can go headerless. If I want to include metadata information about each record, which file it came from, the information about that file, I can also do that. So tons of great options for Savant, all 2-click, all go into your automation. And the best part about this is I hit next. I can save this as maybe stitched general ledger, hit confirm. And now it's added this data set to my analysis canvas. Notice my canvas stays clean. There's not this spaghetti mess of steps to do the stitching. The stitching is just to find the logic of my data set when I go look at my configs on my data set. And here I can just continue to build on a nice clean canvas. And every time I run this now, what it'll do is it'll refresh the data from OneDrive looking for the latest and greatest based on the settings I have. So hope you enjoy that. Give it a try. Hope it saves you hours and hours of work usually stitching data. And let us know what you think. Thanks so much. Bye.